Chapter 11 includes descriptive, narrative, example, process, and definition methods of writing. All of these are important and useful in academic writing, but the paragraph examples given by your book don't always give the best picture of how these methods might be used in actual coursework beyond this class. So before we talk further, I'd like you to join me in brainstorming some uses for these methods beyond just the what I did for my summer vacation types of essays in your book. Description is a method used for observation. You might use this method in science courses when you're observing a specific scientific phenomenon. In education classrooms, describing a teacher observation experience. In religion, psychology, sociology, or cultural studies classes, maybe you'll be asked to visit a location or an event that's unfamiliar to you and describe it. Perhaps, let's say for a world religions class, you're asked to visit a Buddhist temple and comment on your experiences. A cultural festival, or a mental health ward, or a food bank could be another example. Doctors write descriptively about their patients' symptoms, and their methods of treatment, and their results, and even business people describe their products and services. Oftentimes we think of description as being flowery, but actually it can include many different kinds of writing. For example, in scientific situations, your description should be as objective as possible. You want to avoid the word I and any other first-person pronouns, and you're going to ask to be as clear and spare and to the point as you can. But then in other writing situations, like in the humanities, you might be asked to use more colorful language, to include your own inner perspective, your feelings, and so forth. Or maybe in something like in marketing, you might be asked to describe something in a way that makes it appealing to other people, to make others buy the product or invest in the company. So in all these cases, your description is about trying to make your readers see what you see, to pass on to them your vision of the situation. Narrative is telling a story. Obviously, preachers do this all the time when they begin their sermons with an anecdote or a parable. Teachers tell stories not only in their classrooms, but also writing home to parents saying, "Here's what Johnny did today, let me tell you about it." You might write a narrative when you file a report to HR describing an employee's behavior. Anytime you use a hypothetical or a real-life example to illustrate a point, that's narrative, which is why I think I would group narrative and example together in the same genre, although your book separates them out. Again, advertising and marketing use narrative a great deal, and if you've ever worked in nonprofits, you know how important the right story can be to the right person when you're trying to solicit donations. Now, some narratives do go into detail with description and dialogue and setting and so forth, like in a novel or a short story, but some are more just quick summaries of events, and some just report the facts, like a police report. Some embroider details, and some even stretch the truth. Pause this video for just a moment and think about your field of study. When might you be asked in your upcoming courses or in your field to describe things or to narrate a series of events? Process writing is actually much more than just how to. Often you'll be asked to describe a process that has already happened, to pick it apart and explain how it came about. For example, explaining a scientific process is a common exercise in biology and chemistry classes. You might be asked to describe a process of an upstart business trying to solicit customers. You might be asked to describe the various methods of biblical exegesis and comment on the philosophies that underpin each method. Someone studying medicine should certainly be able to articulate the many processes that they'll go through in their job. And an aspiring doctor or nurse might also be asked to describe the progression of a certain disease or a medical condition and the various symptoms that present at each stage. Writing about definitions is also a very common method, although it seems a little more unusual. So many words are debated or contested in every field, or simply just misunderstood. For example, what exactly constitutes sexual harassment in a workplace? How do various Christian denominations understand the idea of baptism? How has the meaning of the word schizophrenic changed over the years? Some definition essays will be very esoteric and abstract, and some will deal entirely with the real-life implications of a term. Sometimes you'll need to begin an essay with just a paragraph or two defining your terms before you proceed with persuasion or some other kind of writing. Now, each of these kinds of writing, particularly in academic contexts, still requires a thesis and topic sentences. Our tendency with these methods is just to launch right into the process or the narrative or the description, but stopping to write topic sentences, although it might feel awkward or out of place, is very important for all these kinds of writing. Even if you have to go back and write the topic sentence as the last step and then move it to the top of the sentence or the top of the paragraph, that can be a way that you could still include one. For a process paragraph, your topic sentence might look something like, protecting your business from fraud is easier than you think. And then you go on to describe the process. Or cervical cancer progresses faster than most other types of cancer. And then you begin describing the process. For a narrative or descriptive paragraph, the topic sentence is just a statement of the overall point or observation that the story is meant to convey, such as, visiting a food stamp center was an eye-opening experience for me. And then you go on to tell the experience. Or, at Davis Consulting Group, your needs come first. And then you describe the company's services. Now, it's important to remember that these methods often mix or overlap. Sometimes it's hard to tell, is this a paragraph that's describing a process or narrating an experience? Or some of each? That's fine. It's usually not that important to strictly define what genre or what method you're using in a certain paragraph. The important thing is to realize that all these methods are available to you as resources, and they can be used to make your writing more effective and reliable. Let me know if you have any questions about the types of writing that we've covered in this video and in this chapter, and send me a couple of examples that you came up with of types of writing in your field so that I can expand my list of examples.